Today we're talking about drones. All right. Welcome to After Hours.
Cheers.
Cheers.
What are you drinking?
Cheers.
Mystery
Mystery
white
Foggy water.
Lemonade.
foggy dishwater. So we're back here in the new Parkwood Studios, and we're going to be talking about drones today. I'd like to introduce everyone. We have Steven that's here, Susie, Scott, and my name is Nick. And again, this is After Hours. We are supported by PAC, so check out their website at photoadvclub.com. So today we have Steven in here as a guest, and we're going to be chatting about these drones and quadcopters and how they can help you, how they're fun, and some other different points on them. So welcome.
Well, thank you.
So how do you like our new rug?
The new rug is very geometric, very tangram.
Okay.
Very.
Do we have Yoda in? We have Yoda.
No, we
Oh,
don't have
Tetris.
Yoda. Never
Tetris,
have
yeah.
Yoda.
Tetris is what it made me think of.
It is.
Tetris, all right.
It's a little Tetris.
Yeah, no, Susie picked it out, so it's our new dig. So we're very excited about that.
That's
But
our girl's touch to it.
That's our girl's touch. So we're talking about these quadcopters and drones out here. So one of the points you were making that they're a lot of fun to play with and stuff. So how long have you had this?
I got this about a year ago, Christmas. And a fluke, I actually sent my sons an advertisement from the individual I bought it from, which was DJI. They were doing a special. And I sent it out to them as a joke and said, boy, Dad would really love one of these. And my youngest son went out and got it for me.
Nice.
So, total surprise.
I'll be sending you some emails this Christmas. Like, hey,
Right.
Nick would really like one of these.
I tried again later. It didn't work.
A bigger one.
It was a one-off.
Cool. And this is one of the more entry-level ones, right, that you had gotten where it's, because I see them, some of them are huge. Like,
Yes, this is the original DJI Phantom quadcopter.
Okay.
It's a real basic machine. It's got one battery. There are lots of ways to upgrade it. You can change out motors. You can add 2 batteries. You can add a gimbal to the little GoPro to kind of stabilize your image. It's pretty easy to work with, pretty easy, straightforward.
So I'm assuming you
And-
had to add the GoPro to it. That doesn't come with
Yes,
it, right?
it does not come with it. It did come with the little case to hold the GoPro, the frame, but
Pretty cool.
not
Pretty
with,
light.
not with a GoPro.
Cool. So now I've seen some of the pictures you've been taking of the storms and different things like that. Have you found it, besides fun, just useful to get some different angles and stuff?
Not really. It turns out that getting useful pictures out of a GoPro is a bit of a challenge. Dr. Brown from Adobe notwithstanding, he actually did a whole lot of good videos on how to work with one, how to make panoramas and things.
Yep.
But really getting some good, high quality, useful stuff that I would sell to someone is darn near next to impossible. There's a lot of fun stuff I've done with it. Scott and I were chatting beforehand. I just overflew a wedding reception at the Wigwam Resort a little while ago.
Just like Rogue or
just some fun.
just like you were
He
just
thought he'd
crashed a
buzz
wedding and
just
started
buzz
it.
all the attendees.
I was invited. I stayed about 40 feet over everybody's head, and I only flew for about 5 minutes because the batteries are good for about 10.
That's it.
So that's it. Once
It just implodes after that. It's like
no, it's
drops
there's
out
a
of the
little red
sky.
light that begins to flash, which warns you, and then if it flashes faster, it will actually come down by itself.
it'll land itself.
And since I don't want it landing in the guests, I want it landing near me. I didn't wait for the red light.
So
I
it just goes into autopilot and just lands.
Not even so much of an autopilot. It does have a fail-safe system so that if it loses communication for some reason, batteries in the remote control die or something like that, then it will come back to a home position if the GPS is running.
Oh, so it's like my
So-
little Autobot thing that cleans the rugs.
It's like Roomba.
Roomba.
Kind of.
Not like my RC car where I was driving it and it lost communication and it sped up and hit the curb and exploded.
Exactly not like that.
It
Yes.
was like zzz, boom.
No,
Like,
I crashed it.
ah!
I've
That
crashed it
happened to me
myself
once,
a couple
too.
of times. The worst one was the one we were talking about ahead of time. Was about 2 months ago. I accidentally dipped it in the pool just enough to get the little compass wet, and that fried it. So I've had to wait 4 weeks for a new compass to show up and be able to rewire it back
together.
into place
Yeah.
and get back to having fun again.
So some of the things we were talking about too before were like places to fly. So where are safe places to fly? You were saying, you were flying over a wedding. You don't want generally people to fly them over weddings. You're not allowed to fly them in national parks now because of idiots usually. So Where's
Precisely.
a safe place to go and take something like this if you get it, so that people can do it within the law and still have a good time with it?
The ideal place is at least 4 miles from any airport. You don't really want to be flying around in any active airspace. I'm just a hobbyist, so I don't have to follow a lot of the rules that commercial people do. But ideal places are places that are large and open fields, where there are no obstructions, no trees in your way.
Power lines.
They are very easy to fly. Power lines would be an ideal thing to avoid, in part because it messes with the communication between you. Communication can drop off if you get too close. Not really sure. I pretty much stayed away from power lines. So it's,
we were just on them not too long ago, and they're buzzing. I'm like, is this even safe? Am I going to grow an arm out like my back
The
over
high
here?
tension power
if you
lines,
stick
the
around
really
long
big
enough,
ones,
you
yeah.
could have 2 heads. Who knows?
I can use 2 heads.
Or you
yeah.
might
Be
grow
like, hey, you do all the
4
social media
props
stuff.
and be
I'll
flying
do
yourself. We were talking about ideal places. So large parks, places where there aren't other people. It turns out being in the middle of the desert is not that great because all those cactus are sticking up there just waiting to reach out and grab it. So like Charlie Brown and his kite-eating trees. So Steve Van Herpen and his drone-eating saguaros, I guess, here in Arizona.
Yep.
It sounds like kind of an antisocial project. Like, do you guys get together with other drone flyers? And
I haven't yet really run into any other drone flyers. What I've run into are people who are curious about them. They will actually stop the car and come out and chat with me and talk. Usually they're concerned about, are you spying on me? It starts off nice enough with, are these the drones I've been hearing about? And I usually argue, well, it's not really a drone. It's a quadcopter.
These are not the drones you're looking for.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
That's exactly
And I show them,
what
I'm remote controlling it like you would any other remote control airplane or aircraft or helicopter.
Yeah, what's the difference if it goes like this or like a helicopter that's just got...
I have to keep eyeballs on it. If it disappears, I'm in trouble. I have no idea where it is, and I'm not controlling it anymore. So that's not a good thing. And they want to know, well, what kind of things can you see? So I put it up about 100 feet and say, wave for all you're worth. And then I can show them on my iPad. The radio in the GoPro talks to the iPad. And I can show them, and there's this tiny little dot going, for all it's worth. I said, that's the quality of spy work that I can do. Not very good. And usually they walk away going, oh, well, I'm not worried about this at all.
They're like
That
totally
you don't have to worry
unimpressed.
about.
Now you could do the new 4K ones, though, and those are supposed to be pretty good GoPros. The new
GoPro is 4K cinema.
Oh, that is
Can
the
it
new
carry anything other than a GoPro? Can you put like a...
Well, the ones
The
Joel
family cat? No. You can't
Well,
put
the
the cat
ones that
underneath.
Joel Grimes' sons have they're pretty big ones, and they can hold
Yeah.
DSLRs.
Yes.
I think Barry's got a big one.
Barry Blanchard has a big one.
He has a name
That sounds
for it.
bad.
I know it does, right?
Barry, you have a big one.
Sorry.
Sounds good for him.
People like me were the early adopters. Kind of in buying these things, we were sort of advancing the product for later use. So bigger ones are coming out. They're averaging about $5,000, but they will carry in a very stable way a big DSLR. I've seen Canons up in the air. I've seen Nikons up in the air. They want to get away from the GoPro as fast as they can and get to something a little better.
They don't want to
quality.
insure them, though. So if you crash, Joel was telling us, like, if they crash them, you're pretty much hosed. No one, like, all the insurance companies are, like, not going to insure your camera when it's flying on something.
Yeah.
So
yeah, some of the great big ones are like 30 or 40 grand. I mean, they're a lot of money.
Yep. That's
And
what he was telling me.
there's lots of gear with. You can get what's called
Google Glass.
first person point of view. I'm sure I'm saying it wrong, but a set of glasses that fit over your eyeballs, so you just sit and you see exactly what the camera in the front sees. And there have been a couple of idiots who've done some stupid things with that because they sit on the beach and they're looking off over this way, but they're flying over there looking at the girls.
Why is that stupid?
Well, it's a little bit pervy, let's say it that way.
Okay.
So, going into that, legalities. What kind of legalities? We've all heard stories about different things that people have done with them and gotten in trouble. So, someone just crashed one into the well, the big well in Yellowstone, right?
Yeah, that was a few months back, and they talked about how it
was illegal already, and then someone was doing it anyway into the big grand prismatic.
So they're the ones
I don't know that it was illegal at
faithful?
that time, but yeah, you're not. This is a guy who really had not practiced ahead of time.
Yeah.
It was brand new, almost out of the box. He really had no business flying over something like that in the first place. You're already required in the parks especially that park, to stay on the sidewalk. They don't really want you drifting off there. And if he'd had to land someplace else, he couldn't have gone over and gotten it anyway. So
Yeah.
didn't do the rest of us any favors at all.
No, it just causes
So,
problems and stuff.
The national park responded, I think maybe over-responded a little bit. By
Well,
saying
they want to make an example out of
there
it.
will be no more, but they did leave a small codicil in the requirement. At some future point, someone with a commercial interest can come in with a drone and obtain a permit. But that's
If
it.
you pay enough money.
Yeah, if there's enough money involved, and probably they would want the option to use that kind of technology if it were going to help promote the park system, from a marketing standpoint. You can see at some point it's cheaper than doing the cinematography from a helicopter.
You bet.
Oh, yeah, a lot cheaper.
Yeah, so you don't want to cut off your nose to spite your face. So
Yeah.
I'm sure they have a
So
clause in
they
there
left
for that.
that open.
They
And
left it open.
several states have closed their own parks and things like that for the same reason, because somebody's gone in there and done something genuinely stupid.
Sure. Now, so other legal issues that people are going to run into, do you see a lot of that happening? Because I know, like you said, pilots are really quite against it, and other people are quite for it. So should people be upset about this, or is this something that's pretty harmless?
If the person owning it is a responsible individual, and that's really hard to qualify and really hard to believe, because if you've got the cash, you can buy one of those things.
Yeah.
That's the only real requirement.
You can buy a car too, but you see a lot of bad
like
drivers.
Parenthood. You can,
Yeah, like Parenthood.
You're not
signs out
necessarily
here
qualified.
license to
Yeah.
become a
Don't leave your
parent,
kids in the
right?
cars, it said this week on the highway side. I'm like, what? Why do we need a reminder to
Yeah.
not leave your kids in
And
the
it's
car?
already happened.
Yeah.
To actually learn how to fly it, I left the camera off, and I think I flew about a total of 10 hours just to get a feel for what it does and what it doesn't do before I even put the camera on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then I put the camera on and I was all excited, and I ran back to the computer to see the footage, and I'm like, oh, this isn't good at all. It's jerky. It doesn't respond well. It doesn't look all that good. When you pull frames out of it, you're just pulling really small little bitty frames. You can't really do anything with it. So
You can't stabilize
Yeah,
it with that
Barry
kind of,
Barry Blanchard works a lot with training people on it with Adobe and everything too, and he trains people how to. And then Aaron Grimes is doing that stuff too, playing around with them and helping people learn. And Lori Rubin does that too. She does a lot with the drones and stuff. So they're trying to help people and train them and get them used to the motions of it, so that you can get nice, smooth, gliding shots. So there might be a few people you guys could look up on Google Plus. They're pretty active on Google Plus.
there is software for that one and for its elder brothers that allows you through an iPad or an iPhone to input GPS points and say fly from here to here to here to here at such and such an altitude. And sometimes they do it and sometimes they don't. It just sort of depends. But,
Depends.
as they're improving the product, and again, this is about 3 generations away from what's available today. The product's getting better. The GPS is getting better. The ability to talk back and forth is getting better. You're getting to see, that first-person point of view, and you're getting data
Even the
back.
controls, right? We can put an iPad in there.
You're getting data back from the machine telling you I'm flying this fast, this high. Here's the battery life. So you're not relying upon having to see LEDs to do that kind of stuff.
Sure, cool. So where do you see the future of this going? Like, I know people have used it for like high wedding shots, and not necessarily flying it over people, but you have a crowd right there of like the whole whole wedding party, big wedding party, kind of come up over here, not over them, safely come up, shoot the shot, and then come back down. So you get some different point of views, I think, of normal stuff that you wouldn't normally be able to do. So I don't think you have to be flying around the wedding with it, but just like, all right, everyone hold on, we're going to go up, shoot the shot, come back down, and, do you see that being useful for like your business at all?
Yeah, I could. I mean, I could see some videographers getting, extra
Video,
extra
photo.
footage from it,
Go up and get the bride getting dressed and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I've also seen some of the mishaps. They've crashed it into the bride and groom.
Really?
They've crashed it.
I've not seen that.
So they were doing a flyby and they crashed into the bride and groom.
Yeah, they were doing a flyby, trying to get some extra footage, and they crashed it right in the bride and groom.
like
It's a
right
great
into
way to
their
not
neck.
Yeah,
Off with their head. It's a great way to not get a tip or get paid.
Or get paid, yeah.
Wow.
or get
All right, so
sued.
make sure you get some advice. Get paid before the wedding if you're going to do
Yeah,
this.
so I mean, I see liability issues with it.
Sure.
I personally would be very wary about it. I mean,
doing it first.
I worry about setting light stands around the, I mean, I worry about those people knocking. I mean, weddings. Okay, anytime you have a whole bunch of generations from little kids to elderly grandparents, and then you've got people drinking and you've got people partying and dancing. It's a recipe for disaster.
Sure.
Just in every event, it's a recipe for disaster. So by adding more elements to it, it just So
well, I do a lot of landscape stuff, and I want one.
You need to hang out with Steven so you can have friends.
I want one.
Instead of we're friends with words.
Well, I want a bigger one that can hold a DSLR or a Micro Four Thirds, and
cruise
and
it up.
I want to take it like 50 different places. I've just
Don't tell anyone, because then they'll all be there with them. They'll be like, all right, Susie wants to go here. What's next on Susie's list?
I want one, and I want to fly it all over, and I just haven't taken the plunge yet. Pulled the trigger on the price point,
get one
all
if
of that
you
yet.
Evaluate it.
Yeah, if I want to but then I have to give it back, and I'm not. Yeah,
don't want to give it back.
I know, that's why I was going
own.
to order something this month, and I was like, I shouldn't order that. Oh, the Wacom.
Yeah.
I was like, I should order that. I'm like, no, I don't want to. I'm not going to want to send it back.
He won't.
I have the same gadget disease. It's like, okay, this is fun, but who's got $5,000 so I can go buy the hexacopter?
Yeah.
And suspend my 50D underneath it and
exactly.
get some really nice pictures.
Yeah.
So we need to wrap this up, but we're definitely going to do more episodes on this. Talk about just legalities. We're going to talk about some other stuff that relates to this in the future. So we'll definitely wrap it up here and then come back to it in future episodes.
And I think people should post little video clips if they can, or links to that
of your neighbors
on YouTube
and what they're doing.
The girl next door.
If they're using them, yeah.
Yeah, so post below if you hate drones, love drones, quadcopters, what you do with them, what you don't do with them, legal issues. I'm sure it's going to be a hot topic, and we're going to see lots of different versions and opinions on it and everything else. So post them in the comments, and be sure to follow us. So,
cheers.
All right, we'll see you in the next episode.